Globally, China is facing the biggest catastrophe in its history. In China, a newly identified coronavirus is spreading and has now reached several other countries. As the number of confirmed cases and deaths continues to increase, health officials are working on all fronts to learn more about the virus and trying to curb its spread. Along with Wuhan City, some other city is now in complete lockdown to stop the spreading of the virus.
on January 9, Chinese authorities made a preliminary determination of a new coronavirus identified in a hospitalized person with pneumonia in Wuhan. 2 days later, Chinese authorities issued additional information updating case numbers to 41 from initially 59 and reporting 1 death. Chinese authorities also shared the complete genomic sequence with WHO and with the public.
Epidemiologic investigations are underway, and we're waiting for the results of these. But yes, it's certainly possible that there's limited human-to-human transmission. There are many similarities to SARS and MERS. This is a coronavirus, and this helps us. The experience that we have with SARS and with MERS, the experience of our member states who have experience with these pathogens have prepared us for this. This is not unexpected. This is something that the global community is preparing for, and all of the systems are in place, to activate our plans and to utilize the materials that we developed for SARS, for MERS, and adapt them for the current situation. There are some antivirals that are in consideration, and these are antivirals that are used for other diseases that could be repurposed for a novel coronavirus infection. There are immunotherapies that are under consideration, monoclonals or polyclonals. But again, there's a lot of work that's ongoing for MERS coronavirus that can be applied.
We've got our masks on. Health officials now believe the Wuhan coronavirus can be transmitted from one person to another. This is ground zero. Security asked us to stop filming. Police just asked us to leave. We just stepped aboard a train leaving Beijing. We're headed to Wuhan. That's considered the ground zero of this coronavirus. Concerns over the spread of deadly illness are rising. And as soon as we boarded the train from Beijing, most faces covered. Just about everyone traveling home for the Lunar New Year. Strict screening upon arrival. One by one, passengers step through a thermometer check to make sure they are not bringing a fever with them.
Typically, coronavirus symptoms include a runny nose, cough, sore throat, headache, possibly fever, which can last for several days. For those with a weakened immune system, there's a chance the virus could cause a much more serious respiratory tract illness like pneumonia or bronchitis.
Health officials now believe the Wuhan coronavirus can be transmitted from one person to another. Face masks are spiking in demand, so much so that a search through Chinese online retailers shows some stores are running low and several more are sold out. So this is where authorities believe the source of the coronavirus is. It's the wildlife and seafood market. And you can perhaps see over there it's cordoned off. You've got police at all the corners. It is so sensitive that within minutes of us arriving and recording, security asked us to stop filming. So police just asked us to leave the market area. They said we have to get official permission, and once we get that permission, we can come back. The reality is we won't be granted that permission. So instead, we're able to drive now through it, but you can see they've closed off the entire market area. No shopping is going on, no business whatsoever. It's just empty. They shut it down on New Year's Day, trying to ease fears, suggesting they can handle the virus. But the number of cases continues to rise, both inside China in major cities like Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen, and outside.
I would believe that this Wuhan outbreak was caused by animal virus, and then the animal actually carried this virus and spread to human. And what we know is causing pneumonia, and then they don't respond to normal antibiotic treatment. These animals, we don't know their history. We don't know what kind of pathogens or viruses that they are having in their body.
Behind me, this is one of a few hospitals here in the region that's dedicated to treating some of those who are either confirmed cases or suspected cases of the coronavirus. Out front, you've got a few staff members who we notice are all wearing masks. Some of them are even wearing protective gloves, just to prevent any potential exposure.
担心我们这里上班的这种状态。我们说不要紧，我们说我们的防护很到位，其实是为他们，是让他们安心。我们自己其实说不怕是不可能的，谁都怕。真的很担心，但是我们在这个工作岗位上，我们必须就有自己的使命感，必须去做这样的事情。
We at the National Institutes of Health here in Washington are already getting the sequence from the Chinese of the virus and of developing a vaccine. But in any situation, you're talking really about several months to years. So there's not going to be a vaccine for this thing readily available. We're going to have to rely on classic good public health measures.
As hundreds of millions across Asia travel for the Lunar New Year, there is concern that this virus can spread in places like airports, places like railways. It's brought the normally festive holiday mood in Wuhan to a halt. And in the reality, this is not just a Chinese-specific travel holiday. This is a regional holiday. So you're going to have folks from other countries, neighboring countries, in fact, who are also going to be traveling. They're certainly putting measures in place as of now. They have put these airport screening devices not only here in China and going into Wuhan, but also in places like JFK in the States, LAX, San Francisco, and of course in Japan, South Korea, and Thailand now. So they're trying to take these precautions as best as possible. A rushed checkout, sparked by a 3 a.m. phone call. Our rush right now is to check out, get out. We headed to the train station as soon as we got word. The city of Wuhan, China, essentially going on lockdown. A drastic effort to contain the spreading and deadly coronavirus. As we arrived, crowds already lined up for tickets, stretching out the door. It's 4:15 in the morning here, and the only way to buy tickets at this hour is in person. We're good? All right. What time do we leave? 7 a.m. 7, all right. Is it at this station or is that another one? Another station. We've got to go to another station?
It's a station closer to the supermarket.
To the market where, oh great, so to the market that's shut down right now, the source of all of this, to try to get a 7 a.m. train. All right, we've made it aboard the train, departing shortly for Beijing. Some are making the difficult choice to be apart, sending their young children outside the city limits while they stay to face the unknowns.
A newly identified coronavirus that emerged in the city of Wuhan in central China is now known to be transmissible between people. There have been a number of deaths reported and hundreds of infections around the country, and the number of confirmed cases outside China is growing. But what is a coronavirus? There are many coronaviruses found in animals, but only about 6 are known to affect humans. The strain discovered in Wuhan has been found to cause severe lung disease. The first reported human infections were among people who visited the seafood and meat wholesale market in the city. It has since been closed by health officials. Only a block away from one of Wuhan's major train stations, the market reportedly sold a range of animal meat, including peacocks, koalas, Chinese giant salamanders, masked palm civets, and bamboo rats. The location as well as timing of the outbreak are causing great concern. Wuhan is a major transport hub in central China, and the spike in cases started just ahead of a massive travel rush for the Lunar New Year. It is known as the biggest annual migration of people on the planet. The infection has already turned up in Hong Kong, which was hit hard by an earlier coronavirus originating on the Chinese mainland. The deadly coronavirus known as Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, or SARS, paralyzed the city in late 2002 and early 2003. That experience has people in Hong Kong quickly ramping up protective measures. Doctors are reminding patients to avoid crowds as well as contact with animals if possible. After touching surfaces in public areas, good personal hygiene should include washing hands for at least 20 seconds with soap and water, or at least a hand sanitizer. Face masks may help, but as demand rises, some pharmacies are limiting purchases to a single box. Hong Kong authorities have already earmarked 2 sites to serve as quarantine centers. Some health experts have suggested that the mortality and infection rate for this coronavirus is, for now, less worrying than it was during similar outbreaks in the past. But as the number of cases around the world continues to rise, governments and health professionals are preparing for the worst.